Where are you a native of yourself?
I'm from Crockwell, County Galway, but I live in Barna, so I consider myself spiritually a Connemara person. Is that okay with you?
That's fine, but I know Crockwell well myself too, by the way. I have a sister in Kilcolgan, and I know the Crockwell quite well.
Excellent, a beautiful part of the world.
'Tis indeed, yeah, and Raftery and Filla has kind of made it famous up there too, didn't he, around?
Yep.
Now, Una, tell me about your interest, or how did you get interested in the harp?
I was really lucky, and when I was small, there was only 6 harp makers in Ireland, but it just so happened that one of them was based in Crockwell.
Oh.
And when I was small, my mum and dad met at a music festival. They were really passionate about music, and my mum is the 8th of 10 children, and there kind of wasn't enough money left to send her to music lessons by the time they got to number 8. But therefore, as a result, she was adamant that her children would always have the opportunity to learn music. So when I was 3, she started me on fiddle, and I wasn't a particularly motivated learner. You know, I liked hearing all the music around me. I liked the idea of playing in a session with people, but I didn't kind of get the idea you had to practice to get to that level. That penny hadn't dropped. And then when I was 10, she said, well, we chose the fiddle for you. How about you choose an instrument now? So they brought me to a flat, and I was really lucky. It just so happened the B&B we stayed in, big exciting event, was run by a woman who used to play the harp. So it was kind of hilarious. Mom brought me to concert of the uilleann pipes, the accordion, pretty much every instrument under the sun except for the harp.
Yeah.
But that lady who owned the B&B had a harp in the breakfast room, and I basically plinked and plucked on that for every morning of the duration of the stay. And after the lovely holiday, Mom said, well, what do you like to play? And I wasn't a particularly self-aware kid, maybe, and I was like, I don't know. And she was like, well, how about the harp? And it kind of, little light went on my head, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And then I was just lucky Mom knew the wife of that harp maker socially, and they were very positive and encouraging. And so it was kind of a lot of support, a lot of little stars aligning that led to me being a professional harpist.
It's nearly like it's like destiny took a hand in it, and that it was meant to be. Like it was kind of by chance you.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I'm not a big believer in destiny.
Yeah. I just thought it was a coincidence that they were trying to show you all the other traditional instruments, and they weren't doing much for you, and just the house you stayed in, there was a harp there. That's all I meant by that. Like.
That's true, yeah. And I have to say, I do think, though, if there are any parents listening who are interested in music education, I think it's a really, really wonderful thing to give your child the chance to play an unusual instrument, because then they simply get more special opportunities. So because I was the only person in my school who played the harp, I got dragged out for every school concert and every nativity play, and that was like a really big deal for me. When you're 10 getting to play in the nativity play, it's like, oh my God, it's like, Coachella or something,
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was the fact I wasn't actually particularly motivated to practice for around 4 years, but the fact that I kept getting trotted out for various events.
You were a celebrity at a very young age, really. And
this is it. So yeah, I would recommend getting a child to play like the oboe or the bassoon or something really weird, so they get loads of chances.
Yeah, interesting. Now, my memory of a harp is going to school in Clifton, and it was the days when the great Brendan Flynn came as our vice principal, and he opened up new doors and everything. I was getting on in years, my school years, but I remember bringing us into town to listen to Town Hall stage. Funny if you remember Mary O'Hara playing on her harp.
Wow, how privileged.
And I still remember that day very, very well,
She's an incredible performer.
Yeah, I never forgot it. Now, she was telling us that day in our young teenage years, but we were still very attentive to what she was saying and the music we loved, that it was a very difficult instrument, that it took an awful lot of tuning and was going to go out of tune, and the tuning was seemingly, or maybe I took it up wrong, but the tuning seemed to be a big problem anyway, what I was getting from it.
Well, I have some great news for you, Brendan, that John, you can get on your phone. It was always, so before that there was a little electronic tuner you could buy for €20, which really changed the game, because it meant that your parents didn't have to be musical to tune the harp. So,
Oh, yes.
so essentially it really opened doors. It meant that you didn't have to come from for free. You can have all about the soul and the integrity. You don't have that element of live performance. The only element to focus on is the pitches that you hear. And because of that, it's pretty important to have them in tune. But honestly, like only 0.0001% of people are going to end up recording music. The rest of people are going to end up playing live for themselves, for their own enjoyment and for others. So I think that really tuning is quite low on the pecking order of important musical facets. That's my opinion. Everybody can.
Interesting. Now, I'm sure that will be of interest to a lot of people that might be considering the harp. Now, I'm getting it very hard to get onto what I want to talk to you about, Una, but that's not your fault or anyone's fault, because I want to ask you two more. Is it an Irish instrument? Did someone tell me it's not really an Irish instrument?
Oh, it's a very, very Irish instrument.
Oh,
so,
good.
So there are harps all over the world. There are harps in Africa, there are harps in mainland Europe, and there is a very specific type of harp that was basically most famous and most established in Ireland. So that would be what we call the early Irish harp, or the ancient Irish harp. And we have our carving on a very old stone monument. And basically this instrument was strung with wire and played with the fingernails. And if we listen to replicas, we hear this amazing bell-like sustained sound. Really incredible. It sounds like a cross between an electric guitar and a church bell. It's really amazing. And very beautiful. And what happened is that we were actually famous throughout Europe for this. The vast majority of chieftains would have had their own private harper who occupied a position of great status and great importance. And there's a lovely little funny story of how this monk came to Ireland in 1100, and his name is Giraldus Cambrensis. Now, he was quite disgusted with the Irish. He used the word barbaric to describe us and said we were incredibly lazy and only good at basically being hairy. He noted how hairy we were and our lack of style. But he said the only skill to which they apply extendable industry is music, in which they are incomparably more skilled than any other nation I have ever seen.
Nice one.
And so even from this begrudging source, you have this very, very high praise. And he was actually very educated and very well travelled. He spoke French, Latin, Welsh, and
along with Carolyn's concertos and all this stuff. It's the same. That's the real Irish harp, is it?
Exactly. So that's the ancient Irish harp, and that would have been for around 1000, and then it began to morph in response to the different musical fashions and different stuff. So it becomes bigger. There's a big festival called the Belfast Harp Festival, and 11 harpers attended, and only one of them played with nails. So we know at that point it had changed quite a lot. And then,
I'll have to cut in. There's panic here that we're again.
Oh my God!
Harp Day that's coming up in Galway in October. 2 days time.
Galway City. Galway City Museum is going to be the epicenter of the harp world for the day. We're going to have a students' concert at 11. We're going to noted harpist Kathleen Tipperary, and then we're going to have a fabulous concert of professional harpers from 3 o'clock onwards. It's going to have Kathleen O'Snan, an incredible wireless harp player from Clare, myself, she's singing with the harp, and a couple of young kind of rising lights such as Aisling Lyons and Aoife Blake, and a whole host of wonderful musicians. So it's all free. It's on in the Galway City Museum, and the details are on National Harp Day or on Google. Just put it in, or the Galway City Museum website.
Brilliant. And what time is that? What time does that start?
The big concert is at 3, but the harp exhibition starts at 10:30. So it's going to be pretty much all day. Pop your head in.
Brilliant.
Have something harpy and cool going on for you.
I think maybe all harpists would know each other. We are very proud out here of a young Connemara harpist, Seamus O'Flaherty.
He's amazing, and he played for last year, and he's on tour this year, and that's the only reason he can't be with us.
Oh, good, because I didn't know. Did you know Marat? And I was just wondering. I was thinking, being harpists, that you'd all kind of know each other.
No, he's a phenomenal young musician. I have the height of regard for him. So happy that he was able to join us last year. He blew us all away, and he was really excited to come. And then, unfortunately, there was a big conflict, but we'll get him for next year, so we will.
That's brilliant, Una. A very simple, basic question. Are all harps, the Irish harp, are they all roughly the same size?
No.
Yeah.
So if you're talking ancient Irish harp,
I saw the harp that time in Clifton. I was expecting it to be even bigger than. Looking at old Celtic pictures and that, I was expecting it to be even bigger than it is.
yeah, there's quite a range. There are harps from all over the world. But the Irish harp would probably go from 2 foot up to like max 5 foot, depending on who the maker is for the modern Irish harp.
Beautiful, Una. So you'll be performing for us in that National Harp Day in Galway. Now, the fact that it's National Harp Day, is there things on all out through Ireland, harp performances?
There's a wonderful organisation just after starting called Chris Aaron Harp Ireland, which is all about promoting the harp, and we're operating under the aegis of this wonderful new institution. So there's going to be stuff on in every single corner of the country, and if you go to Harp Ireland, you will find all the details. So, for example, if you're not going to be in Galway this weekend, there'll be on in Dublin, Kerry, Tipperary, Cork, Armagh, you name it. There'll be something on.
Fantastic, Una. Well, Una, I think the clock has beaten us here, but it's a joy to speak to you and to refresh our memories, refresh our knowledge on the harp, and to know that modern gadgets are helping out harpists. And
there are no barriers to entry anymore.
No barriers.
It's so simplified. So you get yourself one of our events, and we'll help you get started on learning the harp if you really want to do that.
Now, have you ever performed out here in Clifton for us, or out in this part of Connemara?
I have. I was lucky enough to be playing at a Christmas concert there around 2 or 3 years ago, and every so often I get asked to do a gig in one of your amazing venues, like, I think it's called Ballinlacken Castle. Would that be right?
Ballinhinch, maybe?
Ballinhinch, that's it. Sorry, yes, that's it. Sorry. And yeah.
Well, we'll be looking out for you, and that's great. So National Harp Day is on this Saturday in Galway, in the Galway Museum. That's down near the Spanish Arch, down by the Long Walk. Is it down?
Exactly, that's it. Yeah.
Down near the Spanish Arch there.
Mm-hmm.
So
10:30 to late, basically.
10:30 onwards.
Yeah.
So anybody with an interest in harp or harp music or harpist, that's the place to be next Saturday. And thanks a million, Una, for coming to us on Connemara Community Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
And keep strumming these magical strings and entertaining us all.
Gurmila Magan.
So, False Roads.